Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Muhamad Aizat Afiq bin Nordin. In this video, I would like to explain further about P2P lending. Before that, if you have any question to be asked, please comment in the below. Thank you for watching and enjoy!
What is P2P lending? P2P lending refers to the practice of investors lending money to people and businesses using online platforms. As a result, borrowers can get loans without having to meet the strict criteria set by banks. Compared to traditional investment, P2P lending typically promises larger returns, but investors also assume higher risk. Similar to conventional financial institutions, P2P lending platforms' interest rate is based on the borrower's risk profile. For information, the Securities Commission Malaysia is the body that introduced P2P lending in 2016. Securities Commission of Malaysia has also made 6 registered peer-to-peer finance platform operators available in Malaysia, hence enhancing the financial options available to small and medium-sized businesses. The 6 registered operators are People Lender, Managed Pay Services, Fund by Me Malaysia, Etis Capital, B2B FinPol, and Modal Ventures. Now we move to the advantage of P2P lending. Let's begin with the advantage for investors. Investing on a P2P platform offers the possibility to earn more interest than a bank. The return and risk-to-reward ratio are often attractive. Next, the ability to diversify one's portfolio is another benefit of P2P lending. They can minimize company failure and economic instability by diversifying their investment. Following that, P2P platforms do their own risk assessment of loan applicants to make sure that the borrowers are creditworthy and acting honestly. Move on to discuss the benefits for borrowers. A more accessible source of funding than more traditional ones can be found through peer-to-peer lending. Not just that, peer-to-peer lending is being thought to be a more readily available source of capital for some borrowers than traditional loans from financial institutions, because the application to obtain the loan is not strict like traditional loan. Next, everything happens more faster online. P2P lending are frequently quicker and more adaptable as compared to banks, which are dragged down in protocol and procedure. We will now go to the disadvantage of P2P lending and start with the disadvantage for investors. Peer-to-peer lending normally carry high credit risk since some platforms offer loans to borrowers who have a bad credit, makes it impossible for them to get traditional funding. Next, the users of P2P lending sites are not covered by any government insurance or protection. P2P lending has even been outright forbidden in some places. The third disadvantage for investors are it may not be the best option for investors who want to make a quick profit, as it's frequently required a longer term commitment, typically a year at least, in order to maximize the profit. Now, we move to the disadvantage for borrowers. P2P platforms may impose additional fees in addition to the interest rates on loans. On the other hand, the borrower has the less protection available to them in case of default payment, which is they are unable to repay the loan obtained through the P2P platform. Now, we move to the next slide, which is how does P2P lending works. First, a prospective borrower fills out an online application on a peer-to-peer lending platform. The platform will next evaluate the application and determine the applicant's risk level and credit rating. The applicant is given access to the investor's various options depending on his credit score and allocate interest rates. Next, the applicant may consider each proposed alternative before selecting one. Lastly, the applicant is responsible for making periodic interest payments. For information, the type of financing model used by Islamic P2P lending is Mudarabah financing model. Mudarabah financing model is a partnership between a capital owner and an entrepreneur who needs money for a project. In this scenario, a business partnership contract is signed by the business owner and the financial investor. According to the commercial agreement, all investors who contribute money to the project work together to cover the costs that the entrepreneur specified. The business owner who receive the funding invests their time and expertise in the project. The investor and entrepreneur split the project's profit at a predetermined agreed rate. The investor will cover the entire amount if a project suffers a financial loss. In conclusion, P2P lending in Malaysia has expanded rapidly ever since it began and received regulatory permission in 2016. The most obvious reason is that it offers substantial profits that are expected to be greater than 10% annually. Additionally, it doesn't call either daily supervision or specialized financial understanding. I believe that P2P lending in Malaysia will be growing rapidly as the application to obtain the fund is quicker and it is also supported a small loan funding.